Welcome to The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
Oh, sorry. Welcome, everybody. I got to fix my screen here. I don't know why that's doing that. Move me over there. I don't want this. Oh, hide that. I don't have any presentation going. Let's see. We want to move. Speaker view. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. That was awesome. Welcome to Whole Health Weekly. Hopefully you guys are having a great night. I am. It's going to be a fantastic show. Hopefully you guys checked out our last Whole Health Weekly, which was an interview that we did on a lady. I won't spoil it too much, so I want you to go watch it because it's totally worth it. She showed us how to mill your own flour, and she talked about it a lot. Those are the kind of things I love doing. I'm excited. I'm pretty sure I got an interview next Wednesday as well. This one, I can tell you now, is from this place. It's an online community. They're out west, and I'm checking my email now to see if they responded yet. But it's called the Fermentation School. It's the thing I'm completely addicted to. And what they do is it's like a website that has all these different classes on it. Some various teachers are on there. And so then they have different recipes that you do. And a lot of this stuff is like fermented, things that you can make that are really cool. They even had like mozzarella cheese. That's the one I'm going to do this. My kids make fun of me all the time. I know I've been sitting on that class for forever, but I want to make sure I get it done. So welcome tonight. If you don't know, if this is your first time here, we are the Prize Inside on Rumble, Prize Inside on YouTube. So if you look up the Prize Inside, a chiropractor's journey, you start with the chiropractor journey, you'll find this little icon in the corner up here, and then you can subscribe. So if you subscribe, then you can go back to our old shows. Like we just did one a pretty good one, I thought, on echinacea. And so that is a place you can go. We're also on all the podcast areas, Spotify, iTunes, all those different things. So you can subscribe there as well. I got up to 77 subscribers on Rumble. That's kind of my metric. I'm trying to get up to like 100 on that one because a lot of people don't know where Rumble is necessarily. Rumble's like it's a YouTube, but like it's free. It's all, like so is YouTube, but it looks, I feel like I can work it better. It's like feels manageable. So I've always liked the Rumble like piece. They get some different ads in there and stuff, but other than that, I really enjoy it. So those are the few that we're on, and of course on all the Facebooks as much as I can, and then X. But if you find Jeremy Myers 2 on X, you can do it. Tonight they're having trouble connecting, but it's not a huge deal. So as we go, tonight is all about looking at the news, looking at health and healing news, and then seeing what we can do for to understand it in the holistic innate intelligence way. So the intelligence of our body is what you're seeing in the news going to be helpful. And I figured out a couple cool things that we'll start tonight with. I figured out how to do capture some of these videos that are out there, and we'll discuss those as well. And so with that said, let's get going. Let's start with the videos. I think that would be fun. So we can talk. So, okay. So bear with me here because I want to show you guys. Okay. So we're going to do this. And then we're going to do, oh, it's not going to let me do that. Okay. Hang on. I'll stop sharing for a sec. Well, let me do it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Here we go. So I'll share it now. Okay. So for So for those that are watching, this is a really cool exercise I found on one of those little shorts. He's laying on his stomach for my podcast people. He's laying on his stomach and basically reaching it, trying to like as if you're flying from Superman and flying forward, and he's trying to bring his hands up and down, and it really strengthens those the shoulder blades in between those shoulder blades. This is one I want to send. I'm going to show Rachel because this is one area she gets from getting doing adjusting and gardening and stuff. So I thought this one was really good one to start with. This is one of the videos. One more time. Carries just up through, thumbs up in the air, bringing your head back, right, and then bringing those up. Okay. So that was pretty cool. Now let's go into the next one. This one was okay. So that was pretty good. All right, I got it. Okay. So let's talk about this. Ooh, I saw Brendan going based off of news in the gym. Okay. Oh, let me put this one up. Brendan is in the path right now. So going based off news in the gym area, a lot of people have been starting to supplement with peptides over steroids. I was wondering what your take is on them, and I've seen them as they can be very helpful with recovery and muscle building. Okay. So that is a fair thing, but we're going to look at it because a lot of things are helpful, right? So a lot of things are helpful, but we have to always look at innate intelligence. Okay. So we're going to talk about that. Brenda, could you show me? I was looking on you Facebook, and hopefully you guys just watched that video that I just put up of peptides. So I'll rerun it again if it didn't get on there. It looked like it locked up on my screen. So I don't know if you guys got to see it, but peptides, the big thing is he said it. Okay. Peptides are a chemical makeup that your body produces. Okay. So you heard him. He said insulin is a good example. And I can't remember what else. Let's just use insulin, for example. So, insulin is something that your body produces. Okay. And so that's what a peptide is. It's something like a trigger, a channel, or a signal that your body is producing based on the proteins you eat. Okay. If this is where the innate intelligence comes in. Is that any so let's go use the idea of the hormone melatonin. Okay. So we're going to go to the hormone melatonin. Melatonin is another hormone that's produced in your body, right? And it helps you regulate sleep, and there's a bunch of stuff that melatonin does. If you take it as a supplement, which is considered a natural health supplement, you are taking this melatonin it's basically a hormone outside of the body. And once you do that, the melatonin in your innate intelligence says what? It wants you to it says, "Hey, I don't have to waste my energy and my resources making melatonin because it's already in the system, because it can communicate with everything." So what happens? Your body stops producing melatonin. Now, what happens after that? The body stops producing melatonin. And the moment that you stop taking melatonin, you're going to have issues. So peptides are no different. What they've found is a workaround for steroid use. So, like, basically, steroids are the same thing. Testosterone, you build it into your system, right? Testosterone is built into the innate intelligence of your body. It's one of the hormones, right? And so back in the steroid days, they would just take a boatload of chemical testosterone, and then your body would be like, "Oh, sweet, I don't have to make testosterone." Okay. When you get off of testosterone is when the problems started to occur. Bodybuilders will tell you this at length. Because I take care of a ton of people in the bodybuilding mode. If you do steroids, it replaces the hormone ability within your body to produce it, because your body sees that it has plenty of testosterone, let's say. A peptide or GLP-1 is no different. It's a peptide. So that means it's replacing the hormone that allows you not to feel if you're full or hungry. They figured that out. Now, in biohacking which is what's occurring today, we have to look at it as an innate perspective. Is this ideal? Potentially not, right? So I'm not going to say yes or no, because one of the things that can happen is, in my like holistic situation, melatonin to a child can mess you up pretty good, because the child, you're giving the child melatonin. They fall asleep with this melatonin, and then they have a really hard time producing it, making them like almost crave the melatonin to be able to go to sleep. If they're young enough, your body remembers that stuff, and then possibly your melatonin production later on will be a problem. In an older adult, though, melatonin may be a really good answer for what I call short bursts. Okay. So short bursts could potentially, I think, in the innate intelligence world, give that, because they've found this with ladies that are older and they're having sleeping problems, but they're afraid of melatonin because of what they've been told. And so what happens is like they can do these short bursts of melatonin to kind of stimulate the body's innate intelligence to reproduce it, if that makes sense. So then you reproduce it and then start slowly melding a lot of the melatonin away. So a lot of times, if you see this with a lot of different drugs, like chemical drugs, that you can't just get off of stuff, right? Because of the chemical makeup, hormones, the different chemical makeup. So like, let's say you're on a depression something, and it doesn't matter what drug it is. A lot of times your doctor will be really ticked at you if you even think about just getting off of it cold turkey, because the chemical makeup of the brain function that depression drug is doing could really, really mess you up because now you're not producing any of it. Okay. I'm hoping that this is making sense. But in the innate intelligent world, peptides are not something I would recommend in the long term at all, right? Do I think they're as bad as some of these other like actual chemical drugs? Not necessarily. In the sense of if they are natural, if they're chemical makeups, which is gonna come at you like in the holistic world, it's gonna come like crazy town. Now the GLP-1 is here, we're gonna see so many peptide things, right? And we're gonna get it touted as some kind of major holistic thing. I think there's more to be said. I think there's more to watch and see. Do I think they could be kind of a good potential for a lot of things, but the problem is just like GLP-1, this is how GLP-1 works. It tells your body you're full. If you're telling your body you're full and you're not, okay? So this is where the key is. If you tell your body you're full and you're not, what happens to the rest of the digestive organs? They turn on, okay? So they're turning on expecting food to be there. So the pancreas starts producing insulin. Your stomach acid starts moving around, trying to get ready for this food that's coming down, supposedly, because this hormone's telling it's full, right? Your liver starts getting all that bile and like starting to look for the processing going through. Your kidneys start turning on, but there's no food there. So it's shooting off. It's like you put your car on like a big old you put those blocks and you're hitting the gas and you're not going anywhere, right? So your body's going to do that every time, right? And especially if you're taking this stuff for a long period of time and you're telling your body you're constantly full. One of the biggest things that's happening right now is that there's these massive malnutrition issues with some of these different peptides. Okay. So some of them you're going to see in testosterone boosting, in sport performance, and all those things, the same concept. It might get you that. It's kind of like creatine. So think of this in that way, Brendan. So creatine, in theory, it's not bad. It's like a good holistic thing. But what does your body do? It produces it. It needs it for that energy. So people get a good result with that. The problem is when people do it long term or as a child, right? So my adults can get away with it as long as it's short term and a short run, if that makes sense. So peptides are a great conversation because it's like the big thing in holistic right now, like pushing hard. I would say I'm watching it really close because of the amount of basically drugs they actually are. I don't know why they pretend they're calling them peptides, so you don't call them like, roids. That's what's kind of so funny is like all these different ones are literally pretty much steroids, but we're calling them peptides because it somehow gets around the wording of it and it sounds really good in like social media. Why I do Whole Health Weekly at night. So once a week, because this kind of stuff nails you. But think in the innate intelligent perspective. If your body functionally does those things, then when you take that, right, your body says, oh, I don't need that anymore. And then it will stop producing it. Okay. So that's why long-term use, really bad idea, probably. Short-term, I don't know. I think there's a case to be said probably for that, but is it the innate intelligence way to do it? I doubt it, right? I doubt it. But from the biohacking perspective, I totally get it. All right. So let's go into, I think I got one more. That was kind of fun. Oh, yeah. Okay. So let's share my screen again. Hopefully you guys are liking the okay. I always like these little videos because sometimes it's really good. All right, so let's talk about that one. Well, let's go into let's talk about this one. Okay, so with this one, you got to think, is it this one? Yeah. All right. So let's do that. So let's talk about it. Hopefully my video is showing up. Let me know if it's not. So hopefully my video is showing up and it's just not that sheet there. Hang on. Oh, I want to share this tab. Oh, okay. Now I got you. All right. We're going to go back. All right. Here we go. Let me actually, because I screwed that up. Let's go to the. Now I get it.
Chains of.
Okay. Here we go. Now I see what I did wrong. I apologize. All right. So let's watch this video together.
Amino acids that help your body perform various functions, from healing a muscle tear, growing skin cells, or producing an entire above-ground pool's worth of testosterone, as mine's been known to do. There are some famous peptides you've probably heard of, like insulin and oxytocin. Peptides like these are created inside of the body using proteins that we consume through food. But the things that we'll be talking about today are peptides that are created synthetically in a lab and are then injected straight into your bod with a needle. You might be familiar with glucagon-like peptide 1 or GLP-1. Drugs like Ozempic or Wegovy inject a version of GLP-1 into your body, which helps you lose weight. These shots are legal and have, quite frankly, been everywhere the last few years. But their popularity has spurred a hunt to find new injectable peptide drugs that might also yield other health benefits, which is how we've reached the more colloquial umbrella term of peptides, referring to stuff like GLP-1s, but also dozens of different experimental and off-label shots with names that, when spoken, make you sound like a total droid.
I'm on Retta, Tesamorelin, and then NAD nasal.
IGF-1, LR3,
BBC, TB500,
APC 157,
GLP-3,
GHKCU,
GHK,
TB500, Retatrutide,
Olanatan 1,
CJC,
BBC 157,
GLP-1, N-acetylsaline, GHKCU, BBC 157, DCIT, MOTC, Tesamorelin, IGF-1, LR3, epithalin, thymosin alpha-1, ARA29, pyrrolintide, PT141, oxytocin.
What?
So that was pretty cool. So that's why I wanted to show that video again. I apologize for you guys watching that didn't show up. So that peptide idea is a big deal. You can obviously see it's a big one, right? So that means if it's in the health arena, like creatine, like the stuff that I grew up in the weight room watching people do, is it better to do that stuff, or is it necessarily, do you get to keep, right? The biggest thing is overall, why would you do the weights? Why would you do the lifting? Why would you do all of these things and take shortcuts? Because that's all those are. Because it's most of the time. A kickstart to get going might not be a bad move. Okay. So hopefully you like that video. I apologize. I didn't realize I finally figured out what the heck I'm doing on this. So let's go into, so the last video I showed, let me show that one again so you can get this going. I'll pull it up first. Wait. No. All right. This is not the video I wanted. Go away. Okay. This one. Okay. So let me do this now that I understand how to share it. Okay. So I want you to hear the words of this, like as we're doing this. So hear what she's saying, and then we'll kind of go through this antibiotics or the strain of this.
CDC says a so-called nightmare drug-resistant bacteria is on the rise.
Antibiotic resistance is one of the biggest challenges in healthcare today. A serious example is carbapenem-resistant Enterobacterialis, or CRE, sometimes called the nightmare bacteria. These germs usually live quietly in the gut, but in hospitals, they can invade the lungs, bloodstream, or urinary tract and cause life-threatening infections. They're called carbapenem-resistant because even carbapenems, some of our strongest last resort antibiotics, no longer work against them. One especially dangerous type, NDM-CRE, has spread rapidly, with U.S. cases rising more than fourfold between 2019 and 2023. Preventing these infections depends on early testing, careful antibiotic use, and strict infection control. If you found this helpful, follow to...
Okay. So let's talk about this one now that I think I showed that one. Okay, good. So now let's talk about this. So they had this severe antibiotic. It's a severe infection that's antibiotic resistant. Okay. And so this is happening all over the time, constantly. The reason is over antibiotic use, regardless of what other things they say. It's not you catching, it's antibiotic problems because we constantly are doing antibiotics there, or and that is our like go-to for like everything sickness. Okay. The problem, antibiotics means anti-life. Do you want to live in a world with no antibiotics? No. Right. So there's going to be situations where you need them. The problem that we have is we constantly run to them and use them so often that it becomes a major issue. The other big issue is that it takes a long time. It takes months to recover your gut bacteria. Okay. So once an antibiotic is given, back in the 70s, they used to chase your time with a probiotic. So how they would do it, let's say you had a 7-day run of antibiotics. And then right after that, they said immediately get on a probiotic, yogurts, fermented things with gut bacteria, some kind of gut microbiome produced helper for the next few days. We don't even recommend that anymore. And it's shocking. And it's so obvious, especially when the hospital is having such big issues. Like it's, guys, most of your stuff, most of the things that you want help with, it's your gut microbiome. Just to let you know, you want your peptides to be a little better? Get your gut microbiome ready. Better. Eat properly. Fermented foods, probiotics, clean eating, right? And I'm not saying it's easy. Me and Dr. Matt were talking about it. He sent me a Babylon Bee. Oh, I should read that because that was really good. So he sends me some good stuff. Let me see. I'm going to read this because it is crazy good. Okay. I'm going to use this. This is a quote from a guy named Hans Amato on X. The most beep-upped thing in modern life is that being healthy requires you to actively fight everything around you. The default food is poisoned. The default schedule destroys your sleep. The default stress is chronic. The default medical system manages symptoms instead. Whoa, that's pretty big. That's a pretty big deal. And so a lot of times when you start looking at that, you're going, oh my God. That's what's happening. So the gut microbiome is one, if it's your core, it's one of the major things you need to take care of. I want your spine and nervous system checked like crazy. I want you to make sure it's always in line. You're not just coming when you're barely moving. I want you getting it checked all the time because it really, really helps well, in functioning in the human body. And now your gut microbiome. But that's what we do we started doing that at the office, and I absolutely adore it. It's we do a process to get you back to that gut microbiome to avoid bad stories like that, because antibiotic resistant bacteria, there's only one shot you're going to have, an innate intelligence that's so strong that it can take out those things. So they can't find a chemical to knock it out. But your body can. Your body can absolutely do it. It's got 27 different antibiotics. It's got different cells, T cells, natural killer cells, macrophages. Give me all the different ones. That is what gets your stuff going if they're perfect and they're working in proper communication with the rest of your body. So that was a pretty good one. God, I think I'm liking this video thing. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let me know if you like it. Let me see. I liked this one. Let's end our video session here on a positive note, of course. If I do this right. Let's bring this up. That was Yeah, let's see what this is. Yeah, this one's good. Share the step. Okay.
Slow the aging process. Researchers study. A new study finds taking a daily multivitamin may help slow the aging process. Researchers studied hundreds of adults who took multivitamins for 2 years. Over 24 months of the study, participants only aged an average of 20 months at a cellular level. Researchers say more work is needed before scientists can officially recommend vitamins as an anti-aging method.
New episodes streaming every day on Disney+.
A new
Nice, huh? All right, let's go to my last one, and we'll talk about both of them. Let's go to this one. Okay, this one. So this is what Whole Health Weekly is all about. This particular video. Okay, so this one, and this is another doctor talking.
The news is not good for your health. How they communicate to us is designed to make us feel panicked. It's designed to make us feel angry. It's designed to make us feel upset. That's the reason people are having panic attacks, because you get addicted to the news media and the news feeds, and then it's always bad news. There's a lot of good things that happen in this world. Babies are born. There's people doing good things for people all the time, but that news is not reported. What's reported is war. This political party is coming after that political party. This controversial issue is going to ruin your life. They're trying to take away this. They're trying to take away that. And what happens is someone's adrenaline is poofed up. They're just always in a state of panic because of all the bad things that they have. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. If you're conservative or liberal or whatever, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you're upset. I tell my patients quite often, don't read the newspapers, don't watch the news, and see in 2 to 3 weeks how you feel. And it's amazing the transformation I've seen in my patients. Watching the news.
So that is a big deal. So, and one of the things that the reason Whole Health Weekly is here is so that I can find articles like the peptide situation. You just don't know which way to go. And there's two things it wants to do. The news is designed to do, because it grabs attention. One is create fear, because they found in studies that fear is actually a better driver of sales than anything else on the planet. So if I scare the crap out of you, and like somebody's going to take something away from you, or you better do this, or right, it drives more dollars into whoever's talking to you's pocket, right? And that can be a big thing. The other one is vanity. Okay. So the other one is vanity. You can look like this, just taking this one thing. And that's what a lot of my peptides, and before the peptides, it was, oh my gosh, the different supplementation that was out there. This isn't a new thing. When you've lived on the earth 50 years. Oh, by the way, we have to say happy birthday to Rachel. Her birthday today. We had a fun thing. We were always laughing because, like, everybody, you get a birthday cake, which is great, but all of us are like not big like sugar eaters anymore. And so she was like, let's get some donuts. Because you eat one donut, you're like, woohoo, you eat the one donut, and then you can move on from having cake in your house. So this is a very structured move. But having a Wednesday birthday like mine was, it's like you can't do a ton during the week, but we'll do something this weekend. I can't wait for that. But super pumped. I got her gardening overalls hilariously. But anyway, so we go into, and we really want to watch how we're doing that. You can watch it. I would suggest skimming it. Like, if you have to know, find something. Like, I like the Twitter one, the X app, because you can get your news pretty much through in like 5 minutes, right? You can catch up enough to know what's going on, so that, if you have to do anything crazy, or, if anything's like way nuts, right? but that keeps you from watching and staring at a TV and this person's telling you how terrible all the world is, and they're coming after your stuff in particular. And that is a very thing that is causing major health issues right now on both sides of the aisle, too. Both sides of the aisle. Because you got to remember, these people are masters at getting you to pull out your paycheck or pull out your checkbook and give them stuff. They've had many, many years of doing it. If you don't think they're good at it, see all the different things you fall into, like, oh, I need to buy this because of this, that kind of thing. So just, I thought that was a good video. And the one before that, just remember the antibiotic resistance. But, I'm sorry. The other one was a multivitamin. After 2 years of somebody taking it, 24 months, just a multivitamin, nothing special. They didn't even have, like, in the article, there wasn't any special multivitamin. Just by taking the multivitamin, aged those people 4 months less. Imagine if you take good stuff. Imagine if you take good multivitamins and good supplementation, right? That's pretty awesome. So what you can do is start taking just a multivitamin. Probably make the best one you can. You don't have to do a bunch of herbals or, those kind of things. We talk about those a lot. But getting into a great multivitamin is worth the time. They just said it. It delays aging by 4 months. And they didn't even tell you any kind of like anyone that's special off the shelf. Okay. All right. Where are we at? Oh, man. The videos. All right. Let's look at the other news trends this week. See if there's anything crazy. A lot of wearable tech integration. Like I said, I think this is going to be really cool. I think there's going to be some neat things coming out in it. I don't love wearing things that interfere with your biofield all the time. I would say understanding that these things are giving off radiation. It's like if you wouldn't put your cell phone like on your wrist like all day, right? So we want to make sure we're protecting our biofield all day. So make sure we're kind of doing those things. We don't have to be crazy about it, but so we could use some of these different things, these watches, or, you go on a run, wear the watch, to see where you're at and distance and all that good stuff. But take the stinking watch off when you go to bed. Don't throw your biorhythms off based on like biometric. What do you need to know at biometric data at night? Unless you're like super curious, I guess wear it one night, but don't do it every night, right? So that was one of the big things. Now let's go into Dr. Mercola's the different articles this week. So Dr. Mercola is the website I love going to for articles all over the map in the holistic world. And we're going to pick a couple and talk about them. So here we go. All right. Let's go to, this one's interesting. Let me see. Let me look. I'm just looking at this article real quick. All right. We'll go into that one later. This one we'll save for next week. I got to look that one up before we do. Okay. I like this one. How chronic inflammation blocks healing. Okay. This is by Dr. Mercola. Inflammation is a double-edged sword. It's essential for healing, becomes destructive when it doesn't shut off. And I'm actually doing a talk on this March 28th, Saturday. So if anybody's on here that listens, make sure you're signing up, because I'm good. I think as we get closer, and I'm going to start advertising a little bit more, we're going to do like a 3-hour talk at our Galesburg office, Myers Chiropractic West, and get to talk about it. So here's the article. inflammation is a natural part of healing, helping your body respond to injury and begin repair. But when it lingers without shutting off, it starts interfering with recovery instead of supporting it. Macrophages are key immune cells that act as first responders and cleanup crews, clearing damaged tissues and then shifting into a role that supports rebuilding and regeneration. Recent research found that chronic inflammation disrupts this shift, leaving many macrophages stuck between attack mode and repair mode, continuing to send inflammatory signals while failing to complete the healing tasks. That's where chronic inflammation sucks. That's not in the article, but that's true. Encouragingly, the study showed that this damage is not permanent, and when persistent inflammatory signaling is reduced, macrophages can regain their ability to support normal tissue repair. So, here's where this is what we have to do to get rid of some of this inflammation. Reducing major triggers such as excessive seed oils, endotoxins, chemical exposure, chronic stress, poor sleep, and inactivity helps lower your inflammatory. If you get rid of these things, right, helps lower your inflammatory burden and restore a healthier immune balance. So that's pretty cool. So that's obvious, right? The chronic inflammation, but by taking away the marker, so you see how the intelligence of your body will take care of that chronic inflammation. One of the reasons people get, like, well, if it's so intelligent, why is it doing chronic inflammation? Because it's constantly getting signals that it needs to be turned on. It's kind of like your car. If you put your car on blocks, like we said before, and I just kept hitting the gas pedal all night long, don't you think there would be issues in that car eventually? Yes. So that's one of the problems, right? So we're asking this body to continually run because we keep putting crap in it that doesn't do us any good. So we got seed oils and fake sugar, and now I know fake gluten and all kinds of garbage, right? And then we get hit. Oh, okay. So we don't do that. Let's go outside and like roll in fertilizer and eat stuff that's been zapped 7 times. There's so many ways you could. I mean, the list is endless. Sit in front of a computer for a while, get beat up that way. All these things, you're constantly berating these things for reasons that inflammation wants to happen, right? We have to if we clear them, that's why detoxes work so well. That's why when you go through a beautiful, like an intermittent fast or any of those things, they feel so good because your body's like, you're finally not attacking me. I always think of those little army games where you're just your fort is constantly being attacked. I don't know what they're called. I always see them on my phone if I'm playing a game. There's these little army games. I don't know. One was called Legions or something like that, where you had like these little armies that were just attacking constantly, right? That's kind of how your body is doing that. Well, your soldiers or your immune system, and they get tired of that crap. So try to not do that very often. All right. So that was a good one. All right. Let's get you some good knowledge here. All right. Ooh, I like this. Okay. So this one's pretty important because it's not real well known, but we should know it now. So vitamin B6 supports ovarian function and may influence menopause transition. So vitamin B6 has long been tied to brain health, but research now points to a deeper role in ovarian resilience and biological processes behind menopause. Ovarian function depends on more than fertility, influencing hormone rhythms that shape metabolism, mood, sleep, and energy, while gradually becoming less efficient as reproductive aging progresses. A study in the Journal of Ovarian Research found vitamin B6 helped awaken dormant eggs in the ovary, encouraging them to begin the early growth process needed for future egg development. Menopause is increasingly viewed through the metabolic lens, with evidence that the egg cells maintain mitochondrial stability longer than expected, and ovarian activity may resume under certain experimental conditions. Vitamin B6 may influence menopause-related pathways by supporting ovarian energy, stress hormone balance, and early egg activity. Beyond B6, other practical strategies to support ovarian health include maintaining adequate carbohydrates for mitochondrial energy, supporting thyroid function, and ensuring efficient vitamin A and E. So what this article is saying, B6 has a profound effect on menopause and that ovarian transition, plus helping with that fertility. So that's a big thing. So B6 is a big thing. And a lot of times with the rate of infertility that's occurring, and a lot of it has to do with my guys nowadays, ladies and gentlemen, too. So, but in my women, sometimes we get this, some types of deficiencies. I've seen it in my office. Where women struggle with that for a long, long time. And it was just a simple vitamin deficiency. I should bring out a patient, a young couple. They're super cool. Kind of started with me about a year ago. Didn't know, they're coming in to get chiropractic stuff. But, I'm not going to know all of their journey, especially in the first beginning. I didn't know they were struggling to get pregnant. Well, the husband came in the other day and he was like, and I have posters all over about gut microbiome and gut detox and like those kind of things. But they had been already on a path where they were with a different naturopathic type of thing, because years before me, they were struggling to get pregnant. And so they were trying all the time. We're about ready to do the big one, the big $40,000 to $30,000 in vitro type stuff. And they saw one last doctor. And this one last doctor found that there was a specific gut bacteria that was like kind of one of those resistance, the bacteria that's bad. So think of like Candida, those kind of things. So Candida type infection, but rarer, much, much rarer, that was causing the male to not, to have issues. They figured it out, started a regimen of something. I can't remember what he said, but starting a regimen of something, did a good gut detox, and then they ended up being pregnant, which is phenomenal. So for people that have gone through that, the struggle is very real. And it's such a mystery. It's hard to know what to do. I always say I would shy in the side. If that is a case, I would get my gut microbiome, my spine checked, those two things. It's a pretty good track record. Pretty good track record. Not 100, not 100 shots every time, but pretty close to good. But a lot of people don't know that about chiropractic. Number one, making sure your spine and nervous system are working properly in both the mom and the dad. Once that function, that innate intelligence is able to communicate through the body, they have a better shot at things, right? And now that we've added this gut microbiome health, a lot of times when we figure that stuff out, your body starts correcting a lot of these things, getting rid of things that get in the way of the innate intelligence working perfectly to make the coolest miracle of life, which is a baby, which is insane how cool that is. But that whole process is wild. All right. So we'll do one more tonight and then we'll get rolling, baby. All right. Let me get to. Ooh, I like this one. Let's do this one. All right. So we want to talk about different ways to work out too, right? So this is Dr. Mercola has this thing called Dr. Mercola wrote an article on build strength using the 3x5 protocol. Buried beneath common assumptions about aging is a surprising modest practice that restores lost capacity and stabilizes how your body responds to strain. Strength lost, not poor cardio fitness, is often why everyday tasks feel exhausting and stressful as you age, even if you stay active. Strength training supports far more than muscle, stabilizing mood, sharpening thinking, protecting bones, and improving how your body handles daily physical demands. The 3x5 protocol simplifies strength training by focusing on a small number of exercises, short sessions, and adequate rest so you can build strength without burnout. Long rest periods between sets are essential for maintaining strength and coordination, allowing your nervous system to recover, making each set more effectively. Tools like grip training and Katsu blood flow restriction. That's interesting. See, I'm going to learn something now. I'm going to have to look that up. Allow you to preserve and rebuild strength with minimal joint stress, making training accessible for any age and ability. What is the 3x5? That didn't tell me much about that. What are they talking about? Oh, okay. Here we go. So this is the protocol they're talking about. As a way to control training frequency, volume, intensity, and rest without complexity. So it says training 3 to 5 days per week, performing 3 to 5 exercises, using 3 to 5 sets and repetitions, and maintaining deliberate rest periods long enough to preserve strength and coordination between sets. Okay, so big fan of that. Big fan of that. One of the things that gets people caught in the weeds is that they think powerlifting, weightlifting, heavier lifting has to be this thing where you're going to grind till you can't move. Okay. That's not near the case. Okay. The one reason CrossFit took off in its time is because of these short burst core type strengthening workouts. Okay. Some of them are 8 minutes, some of them are 10. I can tell you from experience, understanding how this works. So they're saying what did they say? So 3 to 5 days a week, 3 to 5 exercises, and then 3 to 5 repetitions per set. Okay. You're going to use a heavier weight to do that. Okay. But the gain you get and the lack of joint issues that you will have later can be a massive win, right? And so a lot of times have the joy, and this is really hard for my weightlifter guys, have the joy in the recovery. Have the joy in the recovery. So no matter how much time you spend doing these workouts, we want to recover really, really well. Okay. So we want to feel the soreness. We're going to get out of it. We want to feel energized by the actual workout. And you can do really, really good. I just got done so I did my first, I do it in quarters. So I started my first weightlifting. So I do kind of a powerlifting or just general bodybuilding quarter. Now I'm going to go into probably end of this month. I'll probably go into like a CrossFit quarter. So I break it up into 4 things per year or through that. And then I'll do a heavy lift quarter distance one, right? So that's how I do it, so that it's constantly changing. I want to challenge my body constantly all the time. If you want to reach out, let me know. tribe1.substack.com is our newsletter. We'll probably put that out as I'm doing this journey. I feel pretty freaking amazing right now. So it's going to be hard to switch. As all weightlifters know, it's really easy to stay in the same habit of the same lifts all the time because it feels good, right? But the 3x5, that's pretty cool. 3 to 5 days a week, 3 to 5 exercises, and intervals of 3 to 5, repetitions. That's pretty cool. So, but burning out, taking really long extended rest between workout times between sets is a critical thing. Okay. So we got one last thing for you guys tonight. I always try to end tonight. Oh, I didn't end on a quote. Oh, I forgot. Oh, well. All right. I'll catch you on a chiropractic quote next week. So my last thing is I love looking up research. And this one was a sweet one in October of 2025 for chiropractic. So this thing called cervicogenic headaches. I would say call it like your tension headaches. Okay. They did a study on it, and chiropractic adjustments to the neck especially outperformed every other therapy for reducing disability and improving range of motion. And other treatments were, if you added like some treatments to it, it even got better, right? So if you did like massage or, exercise or whatever, but the biggest key was the chiropractic adjustment, which is awesome to see that in a study, because we don't get very many studies. I really want them to do one on function of like powerlifting. That's a study I want to do. Adjust you and then see how your strength functionally overall would be. I already know what the answer is going to be, but we got to get it on paper, I suppose. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed it tonight. Hopefully that answered some stuff on that peptide situation. We'll keep diving into that as we go. Very excited. I'm pretty sure we're on board. We just got to make sure everything's coordination. But next week is going to be another interview with the fermentation school, which is awesome. Her name's Kirsten from the fermentation school. Cannot wait to do this interview. It's one of my favorite places to go for different classes like that. So with that said, you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. Take it easy.